You can wear headphones if you want to. We are on the video live stream now. What's this?
This is my son Paul's. He's a weather guy.
Oh, we talked about this. Let's talk about this in a second here. So good morning and welcome to the video live stream for the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, and my special guest this morning is Bob Harrison. And he has just handed me, he's Berrien County Commissioner, but he's been a lot of other things, including LMC President.
Correct.
Yeah, so we appreciate him coming in. I always feel smarter when I talk to you. Why is that?
It rubs off, I guess.
It's not hard for me to feel smarter, by the way.
Low bar, a low bar.
And we've got we've got Bob for the full hour almost, because he has to leave, and I promised him he could leave before 8 o'clock. Just remind me, because I'll forget.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about, what do you want to talk about this morning? We can talk about anything. We can talk about politics. We can talk about Berrien County. We can talk about
the county.
Okay.
Talk about a little bit of everything.
All right. So we'll do that. And sorry, this is the behind the scenes stuff where you get to see me adjust commercials and timing and the liners and all kinds of stuff. But this business card you just handed me, on it, here, can I show it?
Yeah.
I'm going to show it on the video live stream here. Let's see, go in like that. With the new cameras, it'll be much better because it'll be able to autofocus. Let's see. Okay, if you can't read that, I'm going to read it. Beyond Chasing, Paul Harrison, this is your son.
Yep, one of two.
He's a photojournalist, and he has a website, weathermanpaul.com. What does he do?
He monitors the weather.
Okay.
And then we've been out to, after tornadoes have hit in the Midwest, we've gone and assessed damage, taken pictures.
You guys are storm chasers.
Well, no, then that's active. We're passive.
Oh, you're passive.
We go.
So there's a leading indicator, the leading storm chaser. You're the lagging storm chaser.
We're very much lagging.
Okay.
We want, because we've gone into one town in Iowa where the sign as you came in said looters will be shot.
Wow.
So we don't want to be too quick.
No. Wow. And so what is the purpose of going to a place after a tornado is hit?
To see what the damage is.
Okay.
And then one we've been to down in Kentucky, we went 2 years later. And to say that tornadoes can destroy a town would be an understatement.
What did you see?
We saw the jail, the courthouse closed, no new jail, no new courthouse.
Wow.
Downtown leveled, major employer gone, and blue tarps on people's houses still 2 years later.
Wow.
So it just, and for a small town, it's just a devastating thing. And everybody assumes, well, the government's going to help. Well, that's not quite how it goes.
Yeah. They're there for the immediate, maybe clear the roads.
Low interest loans and good luck.
Yeah.
But for especially small rural towns out in Oklahoma, Iowa and the like, it's a really big deal. It can kill off a town.
I want to ask you more about this, so let's talk about it during the interview, because I want to know why you do it and why your son is so interested in this. And I visited the website. You've shared this with me before, and it's fascinating. It's really interesting.
He does a very nice job. He's at the point now offering commentary and thoughts and advisory for people. And
nice.
So, and then he gets people emailing and commenting and the like.
Okay. All right. The website again is weathermanpaul.com, and it's called Beyond Chasing. And Paul Harrison is a photojournalist and a weather chaser. He takes you along for this.
Well, yeah.
Okay. you pay for breakfast, I bet.
I bet. And, everybody goes on spring break, you go looking where tornadoes have happened. Right?
Oh, boy. All right. We'll talk about that and more coming up in just a couple of minutes. We've got news in just a moment on the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning.
This holiday season, and visit byoptimizers.com/radio and use code radio to get a minimum of 10% off and up to $100 in free gifts with purchase. Go to byoptimizers.com/radio and use code radio today.
It's Jason Avery, veteran and co-owner of Lakefront Roofing and Exteriors.
Veterans Day is an opportunity to celebrate all who have served in a military capacity, regardless of active duty, reserve, or guard. For those who served in combat or peacetime, it's an opportunity to thank all the men and women who signed a contract, whether by draft or volunteer, to lay it all on the line for a country, constitution, and citizenship we were willing to serve and protect. A veteran is not necessarily someone that has paid the ultimate sacrifice, but it is someone that swore an oath to do so if called upon. This Veterans Day, all I ask is this. If you see or know of a veteran in your community, welcome them home. For some, coming home was not guaranteed or welcomed. And from me to you, my brothers and sisters, thank you for your service. And P.S. Go Army, beat Navy.
From the Pat Moody Studios, this is News Talk Sports 94.9. WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph. Depend on us. WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's Thursday, one of the best days of the week. It's 7:06 on your November 7th. I have a special guest in studio this morning. We'll be talking with him after we catch up on some of the local news. It's Bob Harrison. He's a Berrien County Commissioner and a whole lot more. He's been in many different roles that have been very influential in our community. So we appreciate him, and we'll be talking with him in just a moment. Again, the forecast for today, we're looking at partly sunny skies, a high around 57 degrees, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. We'll keep those winds tonight. It'll be mostly clear, a low down to 40. It's currently about 48 degrees in Benton Harbor under cloudy skies, 49 in St. Joseph, and 47 in South Haven. Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom. What did Tuesday's elections the outcomes mean for Southwest Michigan's economy? Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Arthur Havlicek said people are already seeing the positives, and it's not necessarily about any particular person or party.
The first word that comes to mind is relief. Not so much that one particular candidate won, but that this election is finally behind us.
Asked about the shared power in Lansing, given the state house will now be controlled by Republicans starting in January, Havlicek said that, too, is a positive for the business climate.
The trifecta, as they call it, that was previously in power in Lansing, was pretty aggressive in pushing through some policies that have been pent up over the last couple decades. And to be frank, businesses have been reeling from it.
Havlicek said the immediate action the chamber and business owners want to see from state lawmakers is a solution to the paid sick leave tip credit elimination and minimum wage increases that are set to phase in starting in February of 2025. Havlicek added the legislature should also finish the data center legislation, providing competitive sales tax relief for businesses willing to invest millions in server farms in our region, bringing with them high-paying jobs and related economic activity. Another health warning for the state of Michigan, as the Department of Health and Human Services says there's been an increase in whooping cough cases in recent weeks. Dr. Leah Munday, an infectious disease specialist for the Detroit Medical Center, was asked how concerning the rise is in whooping cough cases.
It's super concerning. The last 2 years, we've averaged a little over 530 cases. And so far this year, we're actually already past 800. So definitely one of the things that's going on is kids got behind on their vaccinations during COVID. And I think vaccine hesitancy is really starting to show its face now in what's happening.
Monday is urging people to get vaccinated as the state sees a continued decline in childhood vaccination rates. The early symptoms of whooping cough can look like a common cold. However, later symptoms can consist of uncontrolled coughing fits and shortness of breath. Michigan Works of Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren counties announced their Benton Harbor facility is back open for business to the public today. They'll resume normal business hours. Out of an abundance of caution, the facility at 499 West Main Street in Benton Harbor was closed for the past month due to mold remediation. Connexus's Jennifer DeMood tells us the problem has been resolved.
So the property owners have remediated the building, and construction lasted roughly a month, and additional testing was done this week, and the mold is gone.
In addition, the Bridge Academy of Southwest Michigan will resume normal operations on Tuesday, November 12th. Benton Harbor City Commissioners have voted to purchase a small parcel of land in the city so it can be incorporated into the ongoing restoration and development of Ox Creek. At this week's commission meeting, without comment, the commissioners approved the purchase of 2971 Ross Street, right at the corner of Ross and Washington. They purchased it from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for a total of $300.
Heck of a deal.
Heck of a deal. $300. City Ox Creek project manager Dwayne Rasmussen tells us that the parcel is a remnant property that the DNR acquired back in the 1980s. The agency has been clearing house of what they call unneeded parcels, and they offered it to the city for that price. That's convenient because the parcel is within the Ox Creek project area. Rasmussen says the trail may eventually run through that property, although it's not quite known yet, as engineering for the trail still needs to be completed. He said with a nominal sales price of $300, it was an easy decision for the city to take on that site. It's 7:11. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I've got a special guest in studio. It's Bob Harrison. He's a Berrien County Commissioner and so much more. And we'll be talking with him. We're going to start that interview now on the video live stream on Facebook and on YouTube. We'll come back on the radio in a couple of minutes and do that as well. And here on the radio, while we're doing that interview, you're going to be listening to a couple of things. We've got sports from Dave Wolf. We'll also have Always Learning with Barry and Risa. So that interview is coming up as well. Yeah, we'll do all kinds of fun things.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. It's right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We're going to start the interview with Bob Harrison right now on the video live stream.
On the ice last night, Dylan Larkin and former...
Okay. Did you put in the order for my my Batmobile yet?
I'm working on it. I'm not promising anything because there's a big slug of orders coming.
I think they're only making like 8 or 10 of them.
Oh my gosh. You're going to have to wait a couple of years.
You know, at the very reasonable price of $2.9 million.
Do they do financing? Free financing?
That is a great question. It's probably first cash, first serve.
Oh, yeah. Dang it. Well, don't wait. Don't wait.
Let's say good morning to Bob Harrison again. He is our special guest in studio this morning. And you're currently a Berrien County Commissioner. But for those who don't know you, Bob, would you give us a little bit of your background? Where you're from? Where you been?
So I grew up in Kalamazoo.
Okay.
Went to Kalamazoo Hackett. Worked, got out of high school, and my mom said, well, you're not going to sit around the house. I'm getting you a job.
That sounds familiar.
At Bronson Hospital.
Okay.
As a transport attendant.
What is that? What is a transport attendant?
It's one of those, in the hierarchy of the hospitals, it's right low, very low.
That's right.
So, typically men moving people around.
Okay.
And doing minor procedures. So I was 17 when I actually started there.
Doing minor procedures?
Well, because back then it was, on-the-job training. So went through a 2-week class of learning about infectious control and how stuff gets done. And, and I enjoyed it. I did that while I worked full-time while I was going to Western.
Okay.
And then one of my bosses there was involved with an ambulance service. So then I ended up working on the ambulance on my days off from the hospital.
Oh man.
So I got really efficient in time management, and my grades improved at Western.
Did they?
They went way up. You bet.
Okay. Very good.
So, and then graduated from Western, was going to be actually a city manager was my plan.
Okay.
But then I went to a couple Kalamazoo City Council meetings and saw the city manager just get pummeled by everybody, the citizens, the commissioners, and the like. And I said, I don't think I want to do that.
Can I ask you what inspired you to think that you wanted to be a city manager? Because I think about myself when I was going to school. City manager was not one of the options that they listed.
Well, I was a political science major and a business minor.
All right.
And I thought, this is just a different aspect of business.
Yeah.
And so I thought that'll be interesting to do. And then after seeing him get beat up senseless, I saw a little flyer about hospital administration. I was working at the hospital. I said, well, okay, that's business, and that might be even more interesting. I like hospitals, like what they do.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going out to Temple University, academic football powerhouse on the East Coast in Philadelphia, and then got an MBA from there.
Okay.
And then did some planning work during a summer internship, came back, got a job in Kalamazoo as a regional planner in emergency medical services.
Okay.
And that's where I actually first had contact with the people down here in Berrien County.
So you kept boomeranging to that hospital, to the medical community.
Yeah.
Because you enjoyed what you saw there?
I did. And I came down, and actually when in this community, they were setting up Medic One. So I acted as an advisor with the local units of government as they were developing what to do with Medic One. And that's a whole nother, as they formed Medic One.
Yeah.
And then ended up getting hired by the hospital down in Niles called Powhatan as the assistant administrator, and then got made as administrator after about 5 years, and then came up with the merger between then Mercy Memorial and to form Lakeland.
Okay.
And that was a gazillion years ago.
Wow.
And then I moved up here to ended up a couple different jobs after the merger, ended up running the hospital up here. And then it was actually Mercy was still open. And then moved up here, have lived in Lincoln Township since '92.
What is it? What are your responsibilities when you're operating a hospital, when you're running a hospital?
Organize chaos.
Or do your best possible work to organize the chaos.
You deal a lot with, what planning, what's the state going to do to us?
Yeah.
Physicians are not, at that point in time, we're not employees. So they have some vested interest in the hospital doing certain things that would benefit them in their practice, dealing with patients and the like. And I was a bit unusual because I'd worked, since, by that time I'd spent my whole life in the hospital. So I was very comfortable up on the floors, talking to nurses, talking to patients.
Yeah.
And that. So I would always walk around at least once a day and just kind of walk around.
And I bet you learned a lot.
Oh, and so, right away when you go to a new place and you walk around, people always think they're surveilling us. We're in trouble. They're going to do something to us. But I just go up, talk to patients, talk to staff, and, they'd ask questions and I'd give them the best answer I could.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
skipping back for a moment before we continue forward, the ambulance service, you helped set up the Medic One.
correct.
I don't know that let me say this. I'm ignorant about how ambulance services work. I've come to know a little bit about, well, they contract with certain services. How do ambulance services work? Can you give an overall?
Well, back in Kalamazoo, they were all private businesses. And so so at night we got paid $5 a night and $1.50 a call.
You're kidding.
It was really high income.
Yeah, I'd say.
But it was first aid cards. This is way back before paramedics and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so they typically they've evolved from that. A lot of volunteer services have closed. There's still one here in Berrien County, Three Oaks, does a nice job. But then municipal interest over service to their citizens.
Right.
And so they hire people, they hang around to go on calls and move people around or do emergency service stuff. And then you work a shift and then go home.
So there's like a base contract where it's like I'm paid to be here, or there's a contractual obligation for money to transfer if you're here. But then if you go out on calls, then there's
Well, again, when I started, it was the olden days.
Okay.
Now they're salaried employees,
okay.
and so they don't do the how many calls you get and you get a bonus and
Yeah.
that stuff.
All
At least
right.
as far as I know, they don't.
Okay. So and then after so please continue timeline. Go.
So
for it.
I came down here, and then after mergers, there's always reorganization.
Yeah.
And so at one point, I combined all the medical staffs, labs were all standardized, x-ray. And then they said, well, you've got all the hard work done, so you can go away now. And so I ended up going out to the college as a
Okay.
dean.
And that 2000
That was 1999.
1999.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was I got my notice that we no longer need your services the Monday before I was getting married to Janine.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, so they got a lot of community chatter about bad timing and
What a nice wedding gift
Yeah,
that
here
was.
you go. Well, and then one of the best story was that I was given my notice they had a shower for us, and that he gave me an envelope and I put it in my pocket and didn't open it.
Oh,
Well, and
no.
I
Because
said,
you thought, well, this might be something nice. Might be
Well,
some money or a bonus,
yeah, and
something
so
like
I'll
that.
open it later. No, the reality is, in the hospital industry, you were much like a baseball manager. I
Oh,
mean, there's a lot of turnover. It's a tough job.
yeah.
It's tough to have a good home life, family life, and
Mm.
that. So actually, everything worked out very well.
Very good.
Big income cut, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just money. So
They give you a card. You get free medical services if you need it later on.
no,
Okay.
no, but the college is very good.
Why did you decide Lake Michigan College? What attracted you there?
Well, my wife Janine is a Lakeshore school teacher, and she's been doing that. She retired and now is back teaching, and so this is home. We
Yeah.
love this area, this region. She has an identical twin sister who lives in Bridgman,
Okay.
and she's also a teacher. And so the families, we talk. The sisters talk daily.
Do they ever substitute teach for each other?
They've done that, and to try and trick the kids.
Yeah. Does it work?
And no, the kids are actually pretty attentive.
I bet their colleagues don't know.
After you get to know them, you can see the difference.
Okay.
But for the casual observer, they look exactly alike.
That's funny.
Yeah, it really is.
Have they ever tricked you?
They tried once, and Jennifer, she won't do that again.
Don't want to know. This is a PG.
This is a
PG
family
story.
show. Family
Yeah.
show. Okay.
So you get to Lake Michigan College, and so you arrive there 1999, 2000, somewhere around there. And in 2009, you become president.
Yeah, thereabouts. I actually am pretty bad with it.
Oh, it says here on your biography. I'm just reading off
yeah,
of
that
it.
sounds good.
What are you doing at that point?
So I had a couple different jobs. I started out as the dean of community ed, and then ended up with some more stuff. Ended up being the instructional dean for career programs, and then ended up going down. And then we got a new president, and then I got sent down to run the Niles campus, which was fine.
Yeah.
I lived in Niles for a number of years. And so I knew the community, and so that worked out very well. And then his contract didn't get renewed, and then your friend Pat Moody talked to me, and bada bing, bada boom.
That was it. Wow.
That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pat convinced you to become.
Yes, Pat. I would say Pat convinced me.
That's great. And because we talked about what the role is of a hospital administrator, what is the role of a president of a college at Lake Michigan College? What are the things that you're dealing with day to day, and what's your overall trajectory?
It's all very similar. I mean, where's the organization heading? What are our issues? How do we deal with our staff? What's our level of customer service? How do we deal with the state of Michigan? Which, I mean, I was thinking as I was driving out here, every job I've had seems like it's dependent on what will the state of Michigan do to us this week. And I mean, I've got some fabulous stories about stuff that they do that just doesn't make a lick of sense.
Maybe give us an example. We've got time.
Well, at one point, the Michigan's considered to be a highly regulated state, and so the state had some certificate of need laws that prohibited small and medium-sized hospitals from getting CT scanners when they first came out. CT and
prohibited hospitals from getting
you
these.
could not get them. You had to be a certain size and all that.
Oh.
Across the border in Indiana, there was no regulation of that type. So physician offices were buying CT scanners.
Wow.
Hospitals had multiple CT scanners. And so, because the Niles Hospital is 3 miles north of the border, our competition is a big part was the people in South Bend. So at the same time, so I was actually a Governor Blanchard appointee to the State Planning Council, and the South Bend Tribune did a photo shot from an airplane of the state line. On the Michigan side, it's all scrubland, nothing going on. On the Indiana side, there's all this all this development.
Yeah.
So
And there's like a big physical difference between
huge
visible. Yeah.
So I sent it to Governor Blanchard and said, Governor, can you tell me where the state line is? And the next thing, the state police were knocking at my door.
Were they really? The governor would like to talk to you.
Well, I was going up for a bill signing, and but then what happened is the border communities were complaining about this exact thing, and then a coalition with the people in Detroit, the labor unions, and that everybody came together and got the law changed. And so it ended up, it was just an uphill battle. But there's some things that Lansing does that they just do not understand the ramifications, and some of that still goes on, affecting the county and how we operate.
Yeah,
it's, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Lansing, before we continue your timeline, now there's been the trifecta in place for the last couple of years, where you have the House, the Senate, and the governor's mansion, all controlled by one party. It's been Democrats for the last 2 years. Now in January, we're going to see the House change to Republican. Still going to have a Democrat governor, still going to have a Democratic Senate. Does that change things drastically for the way the county looks at its interactions with the state?
Probably not. I think we've typically, we have a good relationship with, the people in Lansing. Where we end up, at some odds are the administration. While the legislative body and the governors say we're going left, the people that are, help drive what happens don't necessarily want to do that.
Yeah.
So right now, a good example is the legislature and the governor signed a bill that allows local units to petition for a reduction in speed limits. And that's not being well received by the paid employees in Lansing, the Michigan State Police and Michigan Department of Transportation. So they're doing a slow walk on what that means in that. And, I appreciate their concern, but I mean, this is something the legislative body said, we want to do this. It makes sense. And the governor said, I agree with you, and signed it. And now the bureaucracy is kind of saying, well, we're going to not really work. This is not one of our priorities.
What do you think the holdback is there? So basically, just to paint a picture, if there's a speed limit that's been set on a residential roadway,
where I live,
Ridge Road, you've been talking about, you've been very vocal on this. What's the speed limit there right now?
Right now it's 40.
Okay.
40 miles an hour.
And what happens on that road? What do you see typically on a day-to-day basis?
There's no shoulders.
Okay.
So people are typically walking the road until they see a car coming, and then they will get off onto somebody's lawn, and a couple
hope
of people,
the car doesn't come over.
Well, and what happens is that there'll be multiple, at times everybody will end up stopping because there's bicyclists, there's somebody with a walker.
Yep.
And so it just is, there's no paved shoulders.
Yeah.
And so from my personal perspective, again, this is Bob, it's a Ridge Road resident, saying we need to rethink some of these state mandates about this is the way it always is going to be, regardless of the road construction and the volume of pedestrians. I mean, Ridge Road, you can never drive down there, and maybe at 3 a.m. and not see somebody walking or a bike rider.
I've experienced the same thing, going out to pick up some fresh bread or something like that at a bit of Swiss. Coming out, and the walkers are conditioned to this. They know go way over because people are bombing down that road.
And my biggest, I worry that one of either I walk our dog down there, and either if he gets hit, I go into witness protection.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll never. And so it's just one of those things that there needs to be some more consideration.
Let's talk a little bit more about that in a moment. We've got to wrap up the Bloomberg report here. We'll check in with ABC News and get our local news, get some weather, some sports, all kinds of fun stuff. Then we'll be right back. Continue our conversation with Bob Harrison, Berrien County Commissioner. That is coming up right in a couple of minutes right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Carlos Tavares has been slashing jobs and capacity following a plunge in U.S. sales. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. Ken Lundberg here. Special guest in studio, Bob Harrison. He's a Berrien County Commissioner. Today he's giving us his opinions on a whole bunch of fun stuff. Batman cars.
Personal opinions,
your personal opinions on whether or not I should get a Batman car for Christmas. And why don't we give a review of how Al Pashoka did yesterday on the morning show?
You know, I just enjoy Al. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Was, in my opinion, one of the most effective legislators that this region has ever had.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a great job. He's balanced. You know, he tells you what he's thinking, and he doesn't pull any punches.
I think we really appreciated his views yesterday, because no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I mean, there's something to be said for somebody who looks at it practically and pragmatically.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I mean, even if he is a Lakeshore Lancers fan.
Well, okay, you are talking to someone whose wife is a Lakeshore Lancer employee.
Well, there's always next year, right? Is that ingrained?
Next 2 years.
Is that the new motto underneath the sign, Lakeshore Lancers? There's always next year.
That's very mean. Mean spirit.
I'm just kidding. I have no dog in this race.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine.
We're just having fun. All right, it's 7:31. I've got Bob Harrison in the studio. He's about to physically harm me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's true.
Just kidding. We'll have news. We've got ABC News coming up in just a moment. Oh, I've got to mess with the computer here. See, we're having too much fun, and the computer gets changed around like that. All right, we'll do that. We'll do that. Then I do that. Okay, now ABC News, and then our local news is coming up next.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Former President Donald Trump is deep into preparations for becoming the next President Donald Trump. ABC's Christiane Cordero with more on some names you could see on his cabinet list.
The Trump team in transition mode, preparing the president-elect's next administration. Sources say Elon Musk and Robert Kennedy Jr. were at Mar-a-Lago yesterday as Trump called lawmakers and allies, both named as possible members of the next Trump administration. Trump and his team are now tasked with filling about 4,000 government positions.
President Biden will address the nation this morning. Vice President Harris conceding the race last night. As inflation falls in Britain, the Bank of England has cut its main interest rate by 0.25 percentage point. The Federal Reserve widely expected to cut interest rates in this country as well later today. Record dry conditions in New Jersey leading to a wildfire threat and voluntary evacuations, mandatory evacuations in Southern California because of wildfires there. This is ABC News.
WSJM News now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show, and sorry I'm a little punchy because it's Thursday, one of my favorite days of the week.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great day of the week. Why? Because the Berrien County Commission meets every
I know. And
Thursday morning.
It's amazing the number of people that just wait for that video stream from our meetings.
I actually do. I mean, and it won't
That's
surprise you. It won't surprise you that I actually did the same thing with C-SPAN. You just love watching government at work.
Oh, wow. Wow. I think the technical term is get a life.
Well, no, what happened was the Watch Paint Dry channel went off the air.
Well, but we're
and so I had to go over to
the holiday season with the fireplace crackling and
that video is fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's good.
I do watch that. Stephanie and I both. Stephanie says hi, by the way, on the video live stream. Bill says hi as well, and so yeah, we have fans. All right,
that's good.
It's the WSJ.
2 or 3 people.
They count. They matter.
They are very important.
You're just mad because I made fun of the Lakeshore Lancers.
Oh, gosh.
Some of the news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom this morning. We talked with a number of area lawmakers who were reelected this past Tuesday. So we talked on a federal level, we talked on a state level. We'll tell you what they had to say, not just about the elections themselves, but what's going to be happening going forward. So that's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Also, unfortunately, in Allegan County, 2 people are dead after a single vehicle crash in Allegan Township. The sheriff's office there reports the car crash happened at about 12:30 this morning near 122nd Avenue west of 30th Street in Allegan Township. Deputies say the preliminary investigation shows a westbound car left the roadway, struck a tree. There were 2 people in the car, unfortunately, both pronounced dead at the scene. Speed and alcohol appear to be factors, according to law enforcement. The names of the involved parties are being withheld pending notification of their families. The roadway was closed for several hours for the investigation. It reopened around 5 o'clock this morning. Also, as deer hunting season approaches, state and local law enforcement agencies are reminding drivers, buckle up and stay alert. Stay alert. I mean, the deer are in the rut right now. It's rutting season, right? They're going
Yeah,
crazy.
well, that's important.
Well, it is important for the deer, for repopulation and all.
I have an ambulance story and a deer.
Oh, hold that.
Okay.
We'll do that one. So deer ambulance. We'll tell that on the video live stream here in just a moment. Okay. All right. So those stories and more, except for the deer and ambulance story that we'll have in just a moment on the video live stream, are coming up at 8 o'clock. We've got sports right now after a look at state news.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. 2 people have been killed.
I just told them about that story.
I know. Geez.
What in the world, Michigan News Network?
Yeah.
All right. Give us the other news. How do you?
Yeah.
All right. So back on the video live stream here, you have a deer ambulance story.
Mm-hmm.
Would you share it, please?
Sure. We're coming in with one of the big old high headroom Cadillacs, and this young deer runs right out in front of it. We nail it. It flips up and over the ambulance.
Oh my goodness.
And it's dead. And so then
So you hit a deer with the ambulance.
Wait, there's more.
Okay. All right.
So then police come. Deer's actually not in that bad of shape, just dead. And again, these are in my formative years.
Yeah.
So we naturally, being like 19, 20, we put it on the stretcher, put it,
you put the deer on the stretcher.
And then took it into Bronson Hospital. We called ahead saying, we're bringing a Mr. Deer.
What are you, RFK? Are you riding around in an ambulance with RFK now?
We were coming back from like Battle Creek or Ann Arbor or something.
All right.
And so we hauled this in, and they did not think that was funny. We thought it was funny. And then the fire department came and took it, and they cut it up, and
okay, well,
they did stew and whatever.
See, it went to a good purpose.
It went to
they made chili at the firehouse.
Yep, there you go. That happens because now and then you've got to relieve some of the pressure.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
You got to laugh about stuff.
Yeah, and in high stress jobs, people will find the humor off-putting unless you're in that situation, because it is a stress reliever. We feel that in the newsroom from time to time.
I mean, a lot of stress
because you're talking about a lot of things, from car crashes, plane crashes, accidents, anything else along those lines.
I mean, there's
whooping cough.
I mean,
we had a newsroom here that was basically ghost staffed during COVID, during the pandemic, and so they had a lot of stress on them. But at the same time, we're still human, and we still have to figure out how to deal with those pressures. So I'm glad the deer went to good use.
The deer went to good use.
And actually
Everybody
got processed.
The cops didn't care. We don't.
How many points on that deer?
It was just a real young buck.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a little.
Do you hunt at all? Have you ever hunted?
I'm not. I did back in college days. But,
okay.
I'm not. Just pheasant. That was it.
Yeah.
Pheasant and rabbit.
Pheasant are pretty. Rabbit. Oh, the cute little bunny rabbits.
Well, not necessarily. They eat our plants at home now.
Oh, how dare they?
Yes.
How dare they go after the lettuce?
Yes.
We were talking about Beyond Chasing. Your son, Paul Harrison, who's a photojournalist and also has a website called weathermanpaul.com. Why? What inspired him to do that?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Just one of those things where he got interested in weather. And then I think the Cub Scouts took a trip down to the WNDU studios and met the weather guys, and he just has stayed with it for a long time now.
That's cool.
We've got some video editing and some, so he does his own little graphs and charts, and he tracks the lake level of Lake Michigan. And I mean, he just kind of goes down, a path of paying attention to it.
So he has weather monitoring gear. Do you guys have
We have a outside weather station.
Okay.
But that's pretty rudimentary. It's not, but it actually has worked really, really well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any trips? Any recent trips?
The last one, we went up to Portage when the tornado went there.
Yeah.
We had friends that lived right where it came down.
Oh, wow.
And saw that. And, You'd have to go to the website and see what's up there.
And the website is weathermanpaul.com. Common spelling, weathermanpaul.com. That's fun.
Yeah, he tracks how many hits he gets and all that stuff. And
if you had the Batmobile, you could become even faster tornado chasers, storm chasers. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to keep that in mind.
Weatherman Paul, if you're listening, DC Comics Special Effects Group is selling the Batmobile for $2.9 million. They have, I think, 10 of them, a limited number.
Limited.
For a limited time only.
Get your order in quick.
All right. So you've been at Lake Michigan College as president there. You were there from 2009 to 2017. What'd you do after that?
Well, I retired.
Why?
Because I decided I could.
Okay.
And then the person they hired didn't quite work out.
Okay.
So then I came back for another year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then, and then Janine also had retired. And she was retired for about 4 years. And then Lakeshore had a last minute resignation. And so she went to a meeting to, she could help out for 6 weeks is our conversation.
Yeah.
And then she came back saying, well, yeah, I'm going to do a year. And that was 2 years ago. And so she's in her third year now.
See, and this is why I really appreciate the opportunities to talk with you is because I know it's always been community first. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, it's, there's something in both our gene pools, I guess. People do say we do retirement terrible, but we love the community, and so why not be a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking with Bob Harrison. He's a Berrien County Commissioner, and we're almost up to the present. Not quite.
Oh boy,
not quite. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Congratulations on your reelection. That happened on Tuesday.
Yes.
You had no candidate except for whoever wanted to write people in.
Yeah, so I think I pulled ahead of Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck and some of the others.
Those don't get counted. Do they get? Well, I guess
I don't know.
Counted.
You'd have to talk to the clerk.
I'll talk to the clerk.
Yeah,
because she's going to be a county commissioner colleague soon.
That's true.
Yeah. So we'll talk about, if you don't mind, I'll ask you a couple questions about the election, your reelection, and then overall, wherever you want to go with that. We'll talk about that in a moment. And maybe we can talk about some of the issues that Berrien County is dealing with. We've got 8 minutes before we promise to let you go.
Okay.
We'll be right back on the WSJM Morning Show.
20th from 8 a.m. to noon in Niles. Register now at reallysmartmarketingworkshop.com.
Partly sunny skies today. More clouds this morning, a little less cloud cover this afternoon, a little more sunshine, but afternoon temperature still only around 57. Clear and cool tonight, down to 40, and then light wind tomorrow, mostly sunny, and a high still of only 57. Looks like our next chance of rain rolls in on Saturday night and continues into Sunday. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're back on the air now.
Okay.
We're back on the air now. 7:43, and I'm Ken Lundberg. Thank you for joining us on this fine Thursday, the 7th day of November. We're on the video live stream. We're also on the radio here, as you know. You can stream us as well. If you have a smart device, it can do the streaming for you.
There you go.
You just download the WSJM app, and there's a play button. And once it buffers through a 15-second commercial, you can just hear what's on the radio.
Oh my God.
Free of charge.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just for the cost of carrying around your phone.
There you go.
That's all it is.
Good battery.
Bob Harrison is our special guest in studio. He's Berrien County Commissioner. You were just reelected Tuesday, as were many of your colleagues for the Berrien County Commission. Any thoughts? What are your thoughts on the elections overall? What'd you see on Wednesday morning with the rest of us?
Well, for the county commissioners, this was a big change because it's a 4-year term now.
Okay.
Previously, it's been 2, and so it presents some issues, for who wants to be on the county board and that. So now we're aligned with the other countywide elected officials, like the sheriff and the others, drain commissioner.
4-year terms.
4-year terms.
Okay.
From a practical standpoint, we act pretty much nonpartisan. So, while people are elected, a Democrat or Republican, then you get into the group and it becomes working with other people, common issues. And so there's not a lot of dissension or party politics that go on.
Yeah.
Some different personalities, and that will give a different perspective, but usually not a political affiliation. So it'll be interesting to watch Lansing and what happens there.
Yeah.
What happens in Lame Duck? Well, it should be very interesting.
Yeah.
There's some opportunity. The county will always have needs, and we get a lot of money from the state already for various specific programs. And so we'll keep our eye on that and just see where it all develops.
How does the county board stay connected with what's happening in Lansing?
We do have a lobbyist that works on behalf of the county. The same organization that worked for me at the college. Good people. They've got their ear to the ground. They help identify resources, pots of money, and help open doors when we go up and make the rounds of talking to legislators.
Yeah, they're basically your eyes and ears on the ground, so that they have to pay attention to what's going on in Lansing and bring back that information of, hey, you might want to be keeping an eye on this, or on this, the pot of money is either going up or down.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to act
or
accordingly.
A great idea, but not going to happen. Lansing's not going to climb on board with that.
Yeah.
And so, so they're very valuable, very good people, hard workers.
Okay. Overall thoughts on the election? Were you surprised at all by the big national outcomes?
Well, I think I had no idea. Because I've got a business degree. I pay attention to their economic policy, and was really not pleased with either candidate.
Yeah.
What the priorities will be fascinating to watch, and we'll see what happens at the state level here, because what goes on in Washington directly affects what happens in Lansing.
Yeah, and what happens in Lansing directly affects every community in the state.
All 83 counties and the local units of government.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to pay attention and see.
Now go ahead.
What the different priorities might be.
You're one of 12 Berrien County commissioners.
That's correct.
So you're sharing your opinions only this morning.
Only Bob's, misguided
Bob's views.
Bob's views.
What do you, in Bob's view, what do you think Berrien County has on its plate? What issues does it need to look at and deal with in the coming year or two?
Well, first there's the immediate impact of the Cook reevaluation.
Yep.
So that's about $900,000 that we have to wring out of the county budget.
So talking about the Cook reevaluation, that's basically where Cook AEP said, hey, our property taxes are too high. Let's do a reassessment. When you take a look at something the size of Cook nuclear power plant,
sure,
that resulted in about a $900,000 haircut for Berrien County.
Just for Berrien County.
Yeah.
And then that will continue on. And so it won't be that much, but it'll go down over time.
Yeah.
The other,
how do you address that kind of thing?
You look for places to cut budgets. And so, that's, we've got a good administrative team, and they work well together. And so they'll bring out as much, do away with some unfilled vacancies, economize here, economize there.
Yeah.
So not atypical to what goes on at hospitals or at the college. You just have to adjust to what you think the money coming in will be.
What else?
So I think labor and manpower is always an issue. We've got some, critical positions that we need to focus on filling. So, LMC has been tremendous with starting the police academy.
Yep.
We've got issues in 911 central dispatch. So manpower will, not just for us, but also for other employers here in Berrien County.
Is the county still having a hard time finding workers, retaining workers?
I think with the like everybody else, it's been better.
Yeah.
Since COVID. COVID it has changed the way of work big time, and now we're back to about where we were pre-COVID, but we still have some longstanding vacancies that we really need to get serious about. So talking to Lake Michigan College, talking to the high schools, the Berrien RESA, about ways we can fill some of the long-term vacancies is really, really important.
Yeah, having that pipeline, establishing it, and finding what needs they can help with.
Sure.
Big opportunity.
Big opportunity.
Yeah.
And just see where we can, not only attract but keep people working for the county.
Yeah. Because I'm running up against the clock and I guaranteed you that I'd get you out before 8 o'clock, let's make this conclusion part of the Moody on the Market update.
Okay.
Yeah. So Pat Moody, once again, influencing your life.
I mean, Pat's a great guy, and he's got my wife. He took a picture of me, and my wife thinks it's the best picture ever taken.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Is it a good picture?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. What else should we be asking you, Bob?
You've covered a lot of stuff. You know, there's a lot of.
What do you do for fun? What do you do in your free time? Do you have any free time?
You know, right now I rake leaves.
Fun. You don't have to. You know, we did a news story that said the state environmentalists say you don't have to rake your leaves. You leave them there, the butterflies and the gecko lizards and everything else.
With my volume,
we
of
don't
leaves,
have lizards.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, now you got to rake them or the grass will be dead.
Oh, the grass thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we travel. You know, we're tied a bit to the school calendar.
Yeah.
So we do more in the summer and that. And then we have my wife's mother with us once a month.
Okay.
One for a week. She's 91 and has some Alzheimer dementia stuff.
Okay.
So
you care for her as well.
And we do that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And travel wise, I mean, you recently traveled.
We went to down to New Orleans to the World War II Museum.
Yeah.
And was a fabulous place. If you've served in the military or you have a relative that's served in World War II, I strongly recommend going there and take a couple days.
Yeah. How long did you spend there?
We were only there 3 days and
Okay.
a day and a half touring, and we could have spent another day and a half.
Wow.
My dad was in China during World War II.
You want to tell that story?
Oh, we don't have that much time.
Okay. But what kind of exhibits? What do you see in this museum?
I mean, everything from they break it into, you know, different themes. Road to Tokyo, Road to Berlin. They talk virtually about everything from the air war to the sea battles to island hopping in the Pacific. And they go into Normandy. There's a movie that they show with the theater seats that shake and rattle and all that stuff. And they, you know, word of caution, there'll be flashing lights and loud explosions and that.
Oh my goodness.
So it's just an excellent time. And it's not for, I wouldn't think, you know, elementary kids, but, you know, middle school, high school kids to get an appreciation of what their relatives went through.
Well said. Well said. What was the name of the museum again? Where was this?
It's a World War II museum in New Orleans.
In New Orleans. Did you get any good food while you were there?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you get? Gumbo?
Had some gumbo. We went to a place and had a pizza. It was so hot it burned your tongue. I mean, we just had a great, and then we had some alligator.
You had some alligator?
Yeah.
Wow. How was it prepared?
I'm not really sure.
I mean, was it fried? Was it breaded? Was it roasted? Was it?
I think I'd go
live.
Did
you have al dente?
Yeah. It was a little chewy.
Okay.
A little chewy.
Might have been overdone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else we should be asking you this morning? This has been a wonderful interview. Thank you for the opportunity for us to talk with you.
Well, the county's employs a lot of great people that have the community's interest at heart. And, this is road time, road construction. Be patient with the workers. Be careful. Watch out for deer. Watch out for farm vehicles on the roads.
Yes, absolutely.
That's always an issue. And just everybody be careful. And now that we've got the election through, I'll take a deep breath and relax and start telling jokes and be happy.
I love it. Let's get along.
Yes,
that'll be good. All right, 7:54. Bob Harrison, Berrien County Commissioner. Thank you for joining us this morning. We appreciate you.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
And it's just about 5 minutes before the top of the hour. We'll have ABC News. We'll have our local news and a whole lot more coming up on WSJM. Stunning sights, more. All right, for those of you on the video live stream, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Any final words for the folks on the video live stream?
No, it's thank you for watching.
Thank you for suffering through Ken. Yes,
and be kind with your comments and thoughts.
Too late for that. The weathermanpaul.com is your son's Beyond Chasing website. I encourage you to go out and check it out. I love his passion for this project.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he is passionate about it.
That's outstanding. All right. Well, thanks again, Bob. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching on the video live stream. We will see you tomorrow. It's going to be a Friday edition of the show, which you know what that means. We'll get Brett Witkowski in here to kick around for a while. So we'll do that and more coming up on WSJM.